Hey guys, time to start a new series. Today we will be looking at Will You Die? In which case, in particular, we're looking at X-ray attacks, but in future series we'll be looking at super moves, ultra combos, all kinds of stuff like that. So, what do you mean, will you die from some of these X-ray attacks? All of them are lethal, you might be saying. Well, with Mortal Kombat X, you're right. Technically, all of them should be lethal, but in this case, I'm actually looking at how long would it take for you to die. And I was going to do Cassie Cage for this first episode, but it proved really hard to find how hard it is to actually burst somebody's testicles by pounds of force, which is what I was looking for in order to do my research. It's much easier to find ribs and skulls, so we're doing Shinnok, Tremor, and Johnny Cage, not in that order. Let's get into it. Ooh, swanky. We get to actually see the action right next to it and... Ah! Okay, this is bad. Ribs! Not eating those on the menu. Hard stuff! Okay, theatrics aside, let's actually break this one down. And I do mean that one in a semi-literal fashion. To the research! Sweet! Now that I've got that out of my system, let's actually have a look at the X-ray itself in slow motion. Why? I was going to do it frame by frame, but, that's just not exactly practical with SHAREfactory and how it really works. If I had Premiere, or if I had the energy to do it on Premiere, I would definitely do that. So that's why it's a little bit wonky, but the science is still the same. So, keep in mind that Shinnok is actually backhanding Jason Voorhees here with enough force to break the jaw. Now, this is totally within the feasible lengths of human ability. Some boxers and MMA artists have been known to actually break people's jaws this way. And of course, this isn't actually lethal. You can live with a busted jaw. It would be painful and you would need to see medical attention ASAP, but you could survive this one. Things get a little more complicated when Shinnok decides it's crunch time, using his giant bone hand to basically put you in some sort of skeletal crusher. He's able to apply enough force to break ribs. Again, this is also possible within human forces, but the fact that if you look carefully, he actually shatters pretty much all of the ribs in one go. It's basically like a car accident, with shards of bones stabbing into organs, and this would kill you in seconds, if not minutes. And what does you in right away is this. He takes his bone stabber thing, like a spear, and stabs you through the scalpel, which would through this part, the sternum, which would already be broken, into the heart, which would pretty much instantly kill you. This is an insta-kill. And of course, since we're doing this against Jason Voorhees, an immortal killer, Jason just gets back up like it ain't no thing. Like I said, he's very well behaved. We let him kill some of the people that we have in the shed in return for him swinging on by to do some experiments. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? Worth noting next is the only X-ray attack I know of that I'm not totally convinced would kill you. Johnny Cage, would you be willing to give a demonstration? After you stretch, of course. He's a movie star, so... Oh, you'd be willing to do it? Go ham, then. Oh, brutal! Oh, wait a minute. This is on Quan Chi. Those spikes are going to make it a little hard to analyze. Let's pick a new target! Nice! We get to pick on Kano. His X-ray will be analyzed soon enough. Now let's just wait for Johnny Cage to give us the cue. Ready? Lights, camera, actor, action! Now, the thing about Johnny Cage's X-ray is that it's fairly lethal, but it's also the least lethal. Like, most of these X-rays, I guarantee you, will kill their opponents in a fight. This one, you have the best chance of surviving if you went against Johnny Cage and took an X-ray. While the impacts are certainly enough to cause at least moderate concussions from the brain actually hitting the skull, because what happens is during a concussion like from this kick, the skull moves before the brain does, and the brain hits the skull. It's all nasty. Now, as I noted, this is completely possible by human standards. Breaking the jaw with a kick, if you can kick hard enough, a lot of MMA fighters are able to do that. You could totally break somebody's jaw like that. Then in comes the slam. Come on and slam. And welcome to the jam. NBA Jam, anyone? No? Alright. One thing to note is how the skull breaks. From the knee impact, it kind of cracks the skull down and out like this. Less inwards towards the brain, so the brain might be getting some bone shards, but not nearly as much as if they were like forced inside of the brain. This is just adding insult to injury, though. You've already broken the jaw. At this point, you're just gonna have it hanging loose, considering how crunch. There goes the jaw, like I said. But I think what might kill you is actually the fall. See, somehow Johnny Cage is actually able to kick Kano hard enough to launch him almost 3 meters or almost 10 feet in the air. That's a lethal fall by most standards, if he landed improperly. Like landing flat on your back. Ugh, that would hurt like hell. Anyways, let's analyze the final one, Tremor. And we'll see how getting hit by a rock can be just like getting in a car accident. Alright, this one required a little more math, which I don't like doing, but here is how I think Tremor is more like a car wreck than you would think. Now, as we all know, Tremor is capable of controlling rocks and the earth and stuff. And he uses this to great effect in the x-rays, you can see. He even launches Tanya into the air by creating a kind of rocky spike. But watch this. He pulls a large boulder seemingly out of nowhere and lobs it at Tanya. Now, given that it's probably granite, considering granite is a fairly easy to consider rock to make it very hard and very dense. In fact, I calculated that approximately this boulder, based on how it looks, is probably weighing around 1,650 kilos, which is about 3,600 pounds, which, yeah, weighs as much as a small car. And I did a little bit of rough calculations, and I estimated that the boulder was traveling into Tanya's stomach at about 9 meters per second, or 26 miles per hour. This is like getting hit by a car in a school zone, and as you can see, it's not good. It crushes the ribs. And then that slam crushes the spine, which I'm just assuming that is also granted because it had to be hard enough to withstand Tanya, and it looks very similar to the rock that Tremor just lobbed at her. And considering that somehow Tremor manages to fall straight down, accelerating, landing on the rock in such a way to break Tanya's neck, she is a very, very dead Edenian. Keep in mind that the initial impact from the boulder wouldn't really kill you, but it would do some major, major damage. Like, that rib-crushing thing is probably not that far off if, say, the car didn't step on the brakes. Let's say a car was going about 60 kilometers or about 40 miles per hour and hit the brakes and still hit you at 25 miles per hour. Excuse me. The calculated force from that impact is about 15,000 newtons. To be exact, 14,850 newtons. That is a lot of force. In fact, I'm going to pull up live right now to have a look at how much it actually takes to break somebody's ribs. A quick sharp blow that delivers 3,300 newtons. That has about 25% chance. Has about a 25% chance of cracking a rib. Keep in mind that's 3,300 newtons, almost 5 times less. I can almost guarantee you that at least some, if not all of your ribs are going to be broken from an impact like that. That is nasty. Thanks for tuning in, and if you ever wanted to know, can anybody survive getting punched into space by Superman? The answer is probably no. Let me know, and I will do the research. And as always, DFTBA.